start this again. Hi guys, Oracle here, and you're welcome to another episode of the Pragmatic Approach Show. On this episode, we have T. Of course, Aisha is back with us, and my co-host Shaw. Shaw, what you guys say?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Again, thank you for subscribing and liking all the videos. We'll keep the good work and we'll keep all the positivity coming. So, hi, show. Uh, Welcome back to the show. Say something, please. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. Still getting used to this. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the invite, and hopefully we can have a great conversation again. Thank you.
All right, T. Do you want to go? What do you have to say?
Yeah, nothing much. I mean, this is my first time here. Looking forward to it. Let's see how it goes.
All right, guys, welcome T. So on today's episode, we have a very interesting and important conversation to have, and the title of today's episode is: Can Trump bring peace to the Middle East? I mean, there's a lot of stories, histories dating back on the crisis in Middle East, most particularly between Israel and Palestine, or Gaza, as you may want to call it. Now, if you go back in history, this is a you know, long history of war, fight, and chaos. But we want to talk about the most recent, you know, events, most particularly starting from October of 2023 when the Hamas terrorists attacked Israel, killing thousands of Israelis, and then Israel's counterattack to that unfortunate event, and how we have landed to this particular point that we are in, and more importantly, Trump's recent statement about taking over Gaza and spreading the people of Palestine across other Arab countries. So, do you think that is the best solution to the crisis in the Middle East? So, today's topic, we're just going to be talking about, would that approach bring peace to the Middle East? Aisha, what do you think?
Um, Short answer, no. I think Trump has a simplistic approach towards that region. The war started way before it was gone, and it will continue way after it's gone. It is deeper than just these two people fighting. There's a racial component, there's an historical component, there's a spiritual component, religious component to what's everything. So it's very complex. And to be honest, even if you ask me that was solution to this thing, I don't know. Only God knows. But we will see how it goes. From my point of view, I think Trump sees this as a business idea, as a way to, make a lot of money and also gain a lot of recognition. So he has an interest in this whole situation.
So,
But
Aisha, quick question. If I get you, are you saying Marco Rubio was right in 2016 when he said Trump wanted to build his real estate business in Gaza?
well, it's looking like that right now. So, and if that was the end goal all this while, then even the idea to itself, I don't think it will work. But hey, we'll see how it goes. But short answer, no. Trump can bring peace in the Middle East.
So, T, what do you think about it? Do you think Trump's approach is going to bring peace to the Middle East?
Yeah, for me, I still see all of this as speculations, right? You know how Trump comes in and tell you, okay, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that, right? So, is what led to this? What are we trying to achieve out of this? Those are the things that really matters, right? If it says US is going to take over, what does it take for US to take over? Is that even right? Right. So there's just a lot of questions that needs to be answered, right? After it's been taken over, what's going to happen? We really don't have all those full details, right? It's just like, oh, maybe US should take it over. So all those explanation needs to be done. And with the fact that you're saying the Palestine people currently living there, what's going to happen to them, right? What's the plan? So there's just a lot of uncertainties out there. Is it going to bring peace? Um, I don't know. I mean, the goal is that it should be peace, and some of this war has been it's been in the Bible all this while that these things are happening. This is gonna keep on happening. But turning Gaza to Gaza Lago, would that bring peace? We'll see. But I think there's really a lot more to what is playing out than what the media is currently saying. But with time, we'll know the truth.
Yeah, time
But the
time.
reality is that when you're trying to bring peace, the way I know it is that you call both parties, you guys sit together and you guys agree and move forward. But this looks like it's a one-sided way, so I don't know.
Talking about the one-sided way, this is not the first time he has approached the Israel and Palestine war in a one-way direction. In 2018, it did something very similar when it randomly just declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And if you're very much aware about the history of Palestine and Israel, Jerusalem is one um, place that both of them have been fighting over decades on the actual owners of the spot. So when you wake up randomly and declare Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, it's a slap on the people of Palestine. But sure, do you think your guy, your president, can bring peace with this approach?
Thank you for asking. Yes, I think just as always, Trump is going to bring peace back to the Middle East. For decades and possibly century, they haven't had any peace over there. There's always been all these wars and all this agony over there. You know, a lot of people have lost their lives. A lot of women have lost their dear children. So, in an idealistic world, I think his approach is okay. But at the same time, I understand the fact that people have deep emotional connection to where they are born or where they are from. So I do sympathize and empathize with Gazans, but I don't think it would be a bad thing if we bring economic um, approach. If we look at this from the economic aspect, and then we can help terraform Gaza because right now everything is blown to the ground. So if we return all these people, they may struggle to start from the scratch because where's the resources going to come from? Who's going to be willing to invest in an environment where they don't have any type of stability? Um, Look at Haiti, for example. I mean, they chased out all these French colonials, but up to today, Haiti is still struggling. Look at most colonized nations. They're still struggling to handle things on their own because the world is not going to wait on them, right? And they need somebody to help kickstart things. So with the United States taking over, we, like you all know, we're the wealthiest nation on earth, and with our money and our influence and our power, I think we can bring Gaza back to where it should be. We can make
Uh,
Gaza great again.
oh yeah, I'd like to interject here. You know, you spoke about how everywhere has been destroyed. You know, and when this war started, that kind of race, like, I was kind of skeptical because I noticed, the approach, the carpet bombing approach of, the war, of how they made sure every house, school, church, mosque, everything was systematically, like, destroyed, and they moved horizontally and, like, literally carpet bombed everywhere. So this looks like, they caused the problem and now they're trying to give us a solution.
So
Because,
is this true? So could this be true about a tweet that somebody said Donald Trump creates a problem, gets on the I'm crying about the problem, gets on the phone, then come back to claim a victory about the problem that they created, and they think that
So
it's all
here's
fine.
the thing.
If I may interject
I
real
don't
quick,
think
you
Donald
guys
Trump
are trying
created
to
this
make
problem.
this seem like
No, no,
Trump is
I'm
the
not
one that
making.
started all this
So
war.
not
Trump
me.
is Trump
I
wasn't
didn't
in
call Trump.
office at the time.
I didn't call
Trump
Trump.
was Trump was battling his own internal struggles. All these uh, fake, all this fake political crime that the Democratic Party created to go against Trump. Trump was battling it
So
whenever the Gaza
so
issue was
this
happening.
might
How come you
this
guys are
might
trying
get
to blame Trump?
no, no,
Uh,
this might get. I don't think Trump started this, but I think Trump is trying to hijack it because this was started way before Trump. There was a plan
again,
to literally.
this is a trend. I agree with you that this is a
Mm,
transgenerational
yeah.
conflict. I have spent a lot of time watching documentaries, reading about these things, and one of the things I've always told people about this is I honestly, in my heart of heart, do not think there would ever be peace between Israel and Palestine. Anybody that tells you there's going to be peace is lying. Since the
Yeah.
days of Yasser Arafat and Rabin, the Israeli prime minister, those were like the times they even had cool, level-headed leaders on both sides. They could still not
I mean,
reach out to peace.
the,
Literally, Rabin, the Israeli prime minister, was shot dead because he went out to America and shook hands with Yasser Arafat, the famous handshake. That's how much this aid, and it's something that is being taught as they're giving birth to new Israelis or new Palestine. They are taught this thing, so it's never going to end. But I've always also believed that the two-state solution that Bill Clinton proposed, I think in 1992 or something, is still the best. Let both countries exist independently, and then you find out they cannot live in peace, but they can tolerate each other. And I still think that's the solution. But Shaw's guy is not trying to look at it from that two-state solution that every president has been suggesting, even though it's been very difficult to implement. Shaw's guy, Trump thinks taking over Gaza and spreading the Palestine people across other Arab countries would fix the solution. I don't think that is fair when you take people from their root, from their origin, because you prefer a certain group of people over them.
I
All
mean,
right.
I would like to make this like a Trump thing because, like I said, this is bigger than Trump in a lot of aspects. But one thing now I've noticed is that in this world, whoever has more power will always use their power. The Palestinians literally have no power here, and even though it's their land, they don't have the right to it. And if we're not careful, we will see a more moderate colonization type of system where they will say they are building your land, but they will own your land, they will own your resources, they will own everything, and you're just like a refugee in your own land. I
That
think
that
that's what's gonna
that's.
happen.
I mean, I think that was what he proposed in 2018 with the pumping of I think $500 billion into Gaza when he declared Jerusalem as a capital. I think he proposed pumping 500 billion there as a means of helping them and rebuilding, but that didn't work.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think is more of let's say US. Let's assume that US finally take over Gaza. What's the benefits for US? Was who are those benefiting from this, right? Because, for example, they say US want to take over. What's this island that they want to take over? Is it Greenland?
Greenland.
And they're saying there's some security benefit to it, right? They want to take over this. What's the name where the most of the ship goes through?
Panama.
Ah, Palama. Yeah, there's economic benefit to that, right? So for taking over Gaza, what's the benefit, right? Who benefit from this? If everybody leaves the country, now they are building, who is gonna be there? So
I
I don't
I
know.
have a I
Maybe
have a
Shaw will be
theory on
living
that.
there.
Hmm.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes. If I
yeah.
may come in, you guys have been bashing Trump, trying to make it seem like he is just the evil person trying to fix the world.
No,
But
I'm
here's
not
the
supporting
thing.
anybody. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Hey, and that's fine. Somebody mentioned that maybe Bill Clinton or whatever his name is tried to fix this stuff back in 1992. This
Bill
was over.
Clinton, Bill Clinton, not whatever his name is. Our record shows Bill Clinton is probably America's greatest president.
Possibly, right? Possibly. But this was over 30 years ago, and they've had no success today. Yet, nobody is questioning anything. Now, somebody brought a plan that could potentially bring peace to the region, that could make them as wealthy as they can get, that could give them as much freedom they've ever known. These people, like we already know,
Uh, Hold on. We're gonna be wealthy if they have to leave the land, they
They
have
are
to go
going
to
to be
somewhere else.
sure. This is
So who's
what.
gonna be
Hold
it's
wealthy?
on, sure. This is what.
it's
Sure,
temporary
sure,
relocation,
sure.
like
You're not
Josh
Hold on.
mentioned.
you're
Let me
you're
let
not
me
that
let me
naive, are
let me
you?
explain this to you.
You're
Let's
not that
say
naive, are
your
you?
house is here. There's another house next to you. Then I come and tell you, leave your house. I want to take over. I will send you to Aisho's house or T's house because you are having issue with your next door neighbor. Then I take over your house. Is that fair to you?
While it's
Why
not
didn't
fair,
I take
I
over
think a
the
good
other
example
person's
would
house?
be what's happening in California right now. Everything is burned down. If you come and offer me some help, tell me, you know what? We're going to build this land back. We're going to build very nice houses. We're going to bring investment opportunities. We're going to terraform everywhere. There won't be as much as much starvation that's happening. There will be as many freedom as you want, more than you've ever known in your entire life. I would be like, since this you said this is going to be temporary, and we're going to sign some documents that we will eventually go back to our own land, and these are what we're going to benefit from it. I think me as a person, I'll be willing to listen at least to see what they have to say, because at the end of the day, nothing has been enacted.
So
These are
you
these
see,
are just theories.
at the end of the day, the fundamental cause of this problem is that somebody said this land was our own. We were enslaved till we left. Some people came, took care of the land. When the slaves came back, they said this was our land. They decided to, the people who were occupying it at that time decided to share it with the returned slaves. And that's how the whole, at least to the best of my knowledge. So when you say these people should leave and come back again, something, it's still going to be chaos because these people are still going to come back someday
See,
and
fir-
fight.
first of all, if they leave, they will never, ever, ever be allowed to come back. It's literally I can put my life on it, bro. Where you can't be that naive, man. Come on.
No, no, this is not about naivety, right? Like I said initially, in an idealistic world, this is a good proposal, because at the end of the day, I've mentioned Haiti. Those people, they thought they could rule over themselves, and they're still in total chaos. So it's
80,
abject
80 is a
poverty. It's
80 is a
rampant.
different it's a different story entirely. Okay, so
So,
They
that
were
sure,
one.
under
this
some
is
sort
okay.
of colonization, right?
Okay.
Mhm.
80 in this case, as compared to, I think the major difference is 80 wasn't fighting with another country about their land or their heritage. But when you look at it, in the case of Israel and Palestine, there is a
Mhm.
fight over who owns this space, who is the actual owner. So when you now say you want to take these people away and bring them back, like I should say, they would never let them come back because that would be
And yeah, and short example using California as comparison is so wrong. As an American, you have rights, you have evidence, you have the court system, you are a citizen, but as a Palestinian, you have no rights. You don't control your country, you don't control your resources, you don't control your borders, you don't control your seaport. So you think, so what right do you have to come back to your land? You don't control your land.
Okay, so
So
is your solution to just keep it the way it is, where they are still under Israel, where they don't have any of those rights, they don't have uh, any say in their own well-being, they don't
you
have
you
access to the
you need
hospital.
sure.
to
Sure. That is why the solution over the years that Israel has always frustrated is the two-state solution. Two-state solution means Israel has the right to exist as Israel and preside over its people, while Palestine have the right to exist and preside over its people. But Israel's problem has always been that, oh, we cannot let these people be independent because the fear of the fact that, oh, Hamas may take over the leadership if Palestine was an independent nation. And because of that, they've
So
always used that as an example. A
yeah,
close comparison would be Putin's idea of wanting to take over Ukraine because he thinks NATO is building border there. So I will take over. So that's what Israel is also trying to do. That, oh, if we let Palestine have its independence and control its people and its destiny, it may fall
mhm,
in the hands of Hamas, the terror organization. And by the way, I unequivocally condemn Hamas as a terror organization, and I think they should be wiped out.
yeah.
But there are still innocent Palestinians who have history, who have heritage to this place. And when billionaires like Trump, Musk, and all these other wealthy guys take over their land, send them away, how do you want those people to feel? What history do you want them to tell?
Yes. So
Yeah.
again, I really do feel bad for the oppressed. In this case, which happens to be the common, average, regular Palestinians, right? So it's very unfortunate situation. But all the other proposals that people have been proposing, like you said, for the past 30 years, have been proven to not work. Are you getting what I'm saying? More people are dying every year. More people are becoming more oppressed every year. You brought up Ukraine. Russia told them not to build. You have to understand that when you are fighting against powerful people, you need to be a little more careful.
So
Even
how
you
do you
yourself,
think this
if you are go
how do
ahead.
you think this proposal will solve the problem? This is the perfect solution.
Yes, we can talk about that, right? I'm not saying it's a perfect solution or anything, but at least it's a little different. And in this case, if Israel wants to do something to hurt Gaza, it's gonna be fighting against America, which Israel doesn't have the ability to, because they buy all our weapons. They are dependent on most of our technologies.
If America took over Gaza, Israel will have nothing to do. It's a win for Israel automatically. It's like this. Let me give you another analogy. It's like two children crying to you, "Daddy, daddy, daddy," and you decide to pamper one and beat the other one without compassion. That's what is happening. How do you feel?
If you are using that logic, if you are using that
That's
analogy,
what Trump is basically
would you
trying
be
to do.
watching one of your children to suffer the way Palestinians
So
are right
that is
now?
why your role should have been to ensure the stability of both children, of
And how
both
do you do
nations.
that? The same thing you've
The
been doing
same
for
thing I
30
have just
years that
said
has not
is
worked.
this: who has frustrated when you say this, the solution has always been there, but one country refused to follow through that solution. And
So, in that case, what do you propose we
go and
do?
check Israel's elections since the 90s. Anybody that wants to be president or prime minister, their biggest campaign, whatever, has always been to always not let Palestine be a free nation, to make sure. So that's the way. So Israel feels there's a threat against them if Palestine becomes a 100% independent nation.
Which is kind of true, right? Because you don't want your enemy to have power. It's understandable. But what's the solution you're proposing? Just leave them to just continue what they've been going through for almost 100 years now.
Yeah, but the thing is that your solution is not a solution. Your solution is just giving the cake to one child and let the other one starve. Will you be a slave in your own house? Because that's what your
But
solution is leading to.
that's what's happening right now. Meanwhile,
Do
we
you
know
know
that United
we need
States.
to understand that the Palestinians are very, very like they're not like us Africans, okay? We see pressure all the buckle. Some people live for their horse, like, and they'll rather live in rumbles than for them to be slaves in their land.
So, are
So
you telling
the
me that
only
you're okay with Palestinian children suffering, Palestinian
no,
children
I
getting gunned down every day?
so if America was gonna be fair to each party 50-50, I would agree with your stance. But the issue with America is that America has this unwavering bias or support of Israel.
Yes.
So America controlling that region is essentially giving that region indirectly to Israel. And this is what I believe, right? I believe if America makes up this territory, all the people that own the land in Gaza will be Jewish Americans, not even Americans. And it will basically become an Israeli American region because Kushner is already
Which,
salivating for
yeah,
that.
Jared Kushner, which is basically a win for Israel because at the end of the day,
Exactly.
Israel's end goal is to take over that land as theirs. So when
Directly or
Jewish
indirectly.
Americans take over that land and buy it off and say they were developing it, it's technically a win for the Jewish people.
Like I said, I am not against what you guys are saying. I understand, and I understand the right to self-determine that that the Palestinian would need. But what I'm saying though is this is being done in a on a global scale. Everybody is seeing what's happening. How about whenever they propose this potential solution, they make it available to the public. Nothing will be hidden, and they let everybody see it. That okay, this is what this is our proposal. The Palestinians can go over the proposal and see if they're actually okay with it before signing the document, because
They
they're
are
not just going to take over.
they are not okay with the proposal. I mean, again, like you said, and like I think like T also said earlier, the entire proposal is not out yet. But the preliminary report that we have and the idea that is being promoted is he wants to take over the land, take all the remaining Palestinians, the one they consider innocent and good people, and spread them across other Arab countries, drop one in Kuwait, drop one in Saudi, drop one in
Jordan,
yeah,
Jordan,
so
Egypt,
basically you are also separating families basically. So now, so when they do all of that and they separate them, they take over the land, rebuild it. I mean, who and how they're gonna rebuild it has not been said. Even though he made a tweet or truth whatever today, making joke about how he's gonna develop it and send um Democrat leader Chuck Schumer there and all that. But the point is, at the end of the day, that solution is still one party oriented. You've been president now. Yeah, you've met with Israeli leader. Uh, Palestine has a president. Even if you don't want to meet with him, you can send delegates there. At least I know Biden didn't meet with them, but a Secretary of State Blinken Anthony, he met with those people repeatedly. At least show some respect to these people that their feelings also matter. He hasn't shown any empathy towards them as though their feelings
no,
matter. All he cares about is Israel. Now, I sure I said something. America, whether Republican or Democrat, they have this soft spot for Israel that nobody can seem to understand why or take away from them. But at the end of the day, even while you're showing favoritism, you should still like care about the other people. And which was what Biden did. Biden, at the end of the day, then made it clear that Israel has the right to self-exist. He was going to support Israel, which he did, but also he respected and cared about the well-being of the Palestine.
What are you talking about,
Mm.
dude? Joe
At
Biden
least
was
he
So,
gave
sleeping
them
on
the
the beach,
ceasefire.
sir.
He gave
Joe
them the
Biden knew
ceasefire deal.
nothing. He had no clue about
so,
anything
so,
that was
see,
happening
this is
How
under
do
Joe
you say
Biden
so.
Biden
watch.
doesn't have a clue
Over
about anything, but he gave
40,000
them the
women and children
ceasefire
were
deal?
Hey,
killed.
let's
Over
see this.
40,000 children and women were killed under Joe Biden.
The no,
Are you
no.
trying to give him?
Because there was an active war going on.
This is
But
say
who was
don't
supplying them all the American
don't
weapons?
don't
He was
The
not
don't
same
killing
make
way
all of
Trump
this.
them.
is still
Uh,
going to supply them.
please
No,
don't make this Biden versus Trump. There's an underlying issue here. The underlying issue is Hamas are the terrorists, right? So
Which
if US is gonna take over Gaza, how does that solve the problem? It just means Hamas moves somewhere else, right? So I think it's really all more of let's take a step back and say, okay, what's the
that's
critical
another
issue
good
here?
perspective.
What are we trying to solve? And what's the best path forward? I really think that some level of more conversation should be done. I mean, I'm not in that. I will never be in that
That's a
kind of
good
meeting.
perspective, please. So
But
sure, let me ask you a question from what T just raised. Hamas is still there are still Hamas members. Yeah, they could have been largely, destroyed. So when you say you take over the land and you want to spread Palestine, so are you going to be dashing these other Arab countries a piece of terrorists too?
Oh,
Um,
that's a good question, right? Depending on where they go. Firstly, if they are moving away from particular area, and they will have to move their weapons with them if they want to continue with the terrorism. Otherwise, they will have to go rebuild. And if everybody is going to different countries, it's going to be a bit challenging
so
to. Somebody wanted to say something.
yeah, I was going to say this is my understanding of Hamas. So Hamas is not necessarily a group of people; it's an ideology. So Palestinians are in the West Bank, and they are also in Gaza. There's no Hamas in the West Bank, but they're in Gaza. So the reason for Hamas is just the fact that there's opposition towards occupation. So you taking them out of there would not destroy Hamas. They will just pop up in different places, blowing up things.
The most is it could take time, but they will come back.
They will come back.
Look at what they did in October of 2023. They didn't plan that thing on October
Bro,
7th. It took years. And they were
bro, that,
patient enough to breach the Israeli security to make that attack. So at the end
you
of
know,
the day, they're a terror organization and they should be destroyed. Yes, but it's like I should said, it's not about the organization. It's an ideology. These people have kids every day. This ideology is instilled in them to kill
yeah,
Jewish, to hate Jewish.
and their
So
population keeps increasing.
exactly. So wherever
So
they find themselves, it may only take time. They will rebuild and still continue that agenda.
Yes, I do agree. Largely the ideology will not die, but we have this capability in the West, especially where we're able to rehabilitate people and change how they think. A lot of the
question,
time.
question: when have you ever been able to rehabilitate an Arab movement?
Say that again.
When has an Arab movement been killed by Western ideology?
Well,
Yeah, I'll use
uh,
Arab. I'll use Islamic. I'll use Arab.
for the past 10 years, if you were paying attention to online activities, you would have
Mhm.
noticed that a lot of more Arab women are becoming, westernized, right? You would have noticed that a lot of Arab men are also becoming westernized, especially when they move to Western countries. They tend to
Yeah,
change their
The
ideologies, right?
ones
They,
sure
they
that's
tend to
not
be
the
a little
question.
bit
I
more
agree.
lenient,
That that's
Sure,
that's not the question though, bro.
sure.
especially the younger generations.
Need I
The
remind
older
you
ones
that
might be stuck in their ways, but
those
the
who are
younger generation, if you go to
migrating,
clubs, you find them.
those
Meanwhile,
who
they
are
may.
migrating and that are acclimatized to the Western lifestyle are not ideally back in their native country part of this movement. They are like
Exactly.
the non-fighting people that they just wanted to escape this. The actual,
Even though we've been having some of them
the
blowing up
actual
themselves
people
in Western
behind.
countries,
Say that again.
even though we've been having some of them blowing themselves up in Western countries.
When
That's what we're saying. That these people leave their country. They wherever they still go to, they still continue. Go and check. One of the biggest problem in Europe in the last couple of years now is how these people leave their place, move to Europe, and try to continue. Check what they did in London. They had one massive protest in London talking about they want a certain type of. So these people, it's an ideology, like Aisha said. It's not going to necessarily die because they moved somewhere else. They are going to carry it. The ones you see that are liberal, that get acclimatized to the American lifestyle, are the ones who were never radical in the first place. Or
Okay, so in
haven't
this
you
case,
seen people from the West? I have seen multiple documentaries of people that are born in America that even got brainwashed from here and they took a trip to the Middle East to go join.
I agree. I agree. I have seen things like I've read about things like that too. But how about if we do it this way? Just my dumb thoughts. How about when they go to all these countries, we try to educate them, make them see world as not something that you just have to come here and die. How about we show them the beauty of the world? How about we give them, instead of putting them in concentration camp or some type of IDF camp, how about we put them where they will have access to
You know,
better education, where they
you
will
you
have
know,
access to self-determination.
the best thing we could have done for the Arabs, to be honest, was just leave them alone. We could
Just
have
to
like
continue
literally
killing
the
one another.
all this didn't start until Western influence. It's fine. Let them do it over there.
No, they've always
But
been
this is
fighting
the
it,
thing.
even in our
Yeah, but
Quran and Bible.
see, people will always fight within themselves. It is normal. Because even do you see that old Joe Biden's video about why Israel was created in the Middle East? You need to Google that thing. It will show you now. You'll see how right wing Joe Biden used to be. So
Yes.
even the creation of Israel was strategic within Middle East to cause instability. So even from that angle, you can see like, and again with all the oil they had in the Middle East, of course, the West had to
Yeah.
interfere. But I'm saying all these
I,
reactions that we're seeing right now wouldn't have happened if you just let them
I
be.
think I
And
agree with you,
yeah,
I sure 100% that if you had left these people, there wouldn't have been this problem. There wouldn't have been the need to want to look at America as enemy and try to come attack. But I also can understand Shaw's perspective that these people were also killing themselves, so there was a need for some people to step in and make peace.
see.
But at the end of the day, I think there should have been limits to how far they went in getting themselves
So,
involved in
so
the
quick question: when has America given a country without resources peace before?
another very valid.
They kill themselves every
There's
time
always an
in.
interest.
Yeah,
I,
so
I
that's what I'm
mean, I
saying.
mean, if
But
we're gonna go
we
from that angle, it only makes sense to get something back in return when you invest, right? So
or
yes, we
but
want to bring
Shaw,
peace to the
Shaw is a
world.
but
core
what we're
capitalist.
getting what we are getting back is not worth it. The common Americans are not enjoying
They
it,
are not
but
benefiting it. They
the
lose more
billionaires,
when
yeah, we're losing it. We get more taxes to fund all these wars. It's not worth it for us. It's worth it for some billionaires that make
the
money off that place.
1% are the beneficiary of all these things because they are the ones who own the weapon
Hmm.
making industry. They are the ones
Yeah.
who make the medications that they will say they're using as medical reliefs. But you
Hmm.
and I, per se, what if you ask me now, what's the benefit of defending Israel? What's the benefit of defending Ukraine? I would only give you a vague answer. Oh, we are trying to protect democracy. But in actual sense, the real life benefit does not come to us. So at the end of the day, I just personally think in the Middle East, there really would never be peace. It is a mixture of core religion ideologies
But I mean, but
that
let's look at it. I mean, even prior to 1948, was there some sense of stability in the Middle East? When would we say the Middle East became unstable? When can we recall when that started?
Well, that would be whenever we started meddling into their businesses. But we cannot also ignore the fact that, even thousands of
And
years ago,
and
I
let's
these
and
think
let's
people were
remember
killing
and
one
let's and
another.
let and let's remember Palestine. Okay, this people have this assumption that Palestine is a Muslim country, right?
it's not a Muslim country.
Yeah, it is probably like 65% Muslim, the rest
Apart,
Christian and Jews.
that's another very long misconception during the when the war
Exactly.
first broke out, especially for our folks that are Nigerian and African. They
Yeah,
thought it was a religious war. So, for the record,
exactly.
please, the war is not in any way religious. It is territorial, and
Thank you.
statistics shows that Palestine actually has more Christians than Israel. So it is very
Oh, so like
because
Israel is, yeah, Israel
largely
is.
Israelis are not Christians.
Mhm. I think Israel is the only, I would say, cultural slash religious ethnic country. that you have to be a certain culture, a certain religion, a certain bloodline for you to be part of that country, which kind of is not democracy, you know, because that means if Shaw goes to Israel, you are going to be seen as a Gentile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A non-believer.
you're, you're unclean.
You're unclean. They wouldn't even make you
No,
worship in close
no,
proximity.
yeah, and this is nice. And like Nigerian Christians, I don't want to insult our people, but we are so naive sometimes, right? And then they look at Israel and they pray to God of Israel,
I
and then
think
they
I
go
think I
there.
think I think their perspective is
Yeah,
formed based of the Israel of the Bible. So that's
Bible,
why
yeah.
when that war first broke out in October of 2022, a lot of them were praying for Israel. You don't need to pray for Israel. Israel was using iron
Iron Dome.
dome to protect themselves. So
Yeah, yeah. And then it's ridiculous that people will support that, but the Palestinians that have the Christian population,
they are
you
not being
think
supported.
the Christians will support their people, and. And again, if you go for pilgrimage, the Jewish scholars over there, like there are videos of them spitting on Christians in the streets of Israel, man.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I had some of my friends who went to Jerusalem, and they returned. They tell you this is more like it's more like
Museum
you're going for historical whatever museum stuff
excursion,
than
excursion.
religious.
Yeah, because all
It is
those.
those people that now travel there that try to add religious
Hmm.
uh, spice there. There are people there just see you as you're coming to learn about history of something like, oh,
Or
this was the
something.
war,
Yeah,
what that this person did, that this was where this
yeah, yeah.
they
Because
don't add any religion
there isn't one, and I think that's the part that kind of sways public opinion to support Israel as a country. And but if this is a religious country, there should be some religious sensitivity towards how you treat other people. But like you said, it's not a religious war, it's more of a political and racial
and
situation,
territorial war.
territorial. Hey, only God knows how this will end.
So I mean, I again, I'm not a pessimist, but I don't think there'll ever be peace in the Middle East, at least not now and not in the foreseeable future. But I think people can tolerate each other. Just the same
I,
way I necessarily don't like Shaw being a Republican, but I still
I
sit
don't
on
know.
podcasts with him.
Because honestly though, I don't understand. Okay, let's look at it from the Israel's perspective. What's the end game? If they take over Palestine, they destroy Iran, they take Jordan. Like, what's the end game? Where, because as long as we have this agenda, there would never be peace.
Actually,
So,
I can tell you what the end game is,
oh,
sir.
sure. What's the end game, sir?
Okay, the end game is very unfortunate, but they say absolute power corrupt absolutely. So
Word.
mhm,
when you have so much power, you want to use it to show that
True.
you have the power, and you want to be the king of your region or wherever you're located. Look at North America, for example. United States dominates here, and we've been able to keep this region at peace. We haven't fought any war, right? For the fact that we are keeping everybody in check. Mexico
mhm.
might have a lot of problem. A lot of Central American countries might have a lot of problems, but we keep them in check to keep that shit in their own countries. Do not bring it over here. Do not bring it to our borders, right? So
Mhm.
Israel is over there in Middle East. They are seeing all these wars happening and everything happening, and they are like, oh, we have a lot of power. We have a lot of technology. We can checkmate all these people and stop them from uh, killing one another.
You
Or
think
A lot of
wait?
power is hyping. It sounds to me like you're just hyping up Israel.
Yeah, I don't think
If America chooses to not support Israel this minute,
what do you think is gonna happen?
what do I think is going to
yeah.
happen if America, let's say one radical guy just comes to becomes the president of the United States and said, Every aid that we send to Israel, all the military, financial, I'm cutting it off. I kid you not. If Israel lasts 48 hours, it's a miracle.
Well,
Bro.
that would mean that the whole Middle East will be destroyed because
No,
Israel
that
has the
that would mean that
capability.
Iran will come for them. Lebanon will be is it I'm trying yeah, I think it's Jordan will be coming for them. But
Lebanon,
yeah, Palestine will be coming for them.
which
Many
is
of these
true, but
other Middle
these people
Eastern
can get
countries,
these people will get destroyed
by
in matter
what?
of minutes because they have nuclear bomb.
Bro,
And you
All
think
these nations with
you
nation do not.
you think that's how nuclear bomb works? What does that even mean? They have nuclear bombs.
It means that they would just blow up the whole thing. If you want to destroy us, we know we are dying anyway. They're just going to blow up everything.
It doesn't work that way, bro.
it? I think Israel's strength, might, and whatever makes them cocky in this whole war is because they know if they go to war with anybody, America will
America.
support them.
Hence, that supports what I've been saying that these people they're dependent on United States. And now we have a proposal. It might not be the best proposal. We all know Trump might not be the most eloquent person. He probably doesn't know how to express himself in the most what's the word I'm looking
Sophisticated.
for? Um, he's not
Sophisticated.
diplomatic enough, right? He's not
Okay.
diplomatic with his words. So, however, I think if they want to craft or if they want to write this proposal, they will make it reasonable to the point where it's going to make sense for the average people. It's not just going to be blatant takeover because the whole country will criticize the proposal if it was that bad. Because now we are having all these nations that are in support of two two states, right?
So,
Which
so
makes sense.
I have a question for you, Sean. Let's just assume we go for this two-state solution. How can America ensure that Israel behave themselves? Because they are known for sabotaging this two-state solution. And let me
Exactly.
remind you, they actually are the ones that first supported Hamas to fight against the ruling party in Palestine. They needed the instability. So
Instability.
how can America ensure that Israel behave themselves and
That's
they don't
that's
sabotage the two-state solution?
that's a good question. Since we know that Israel is mostly reliant on American weapon and even our intelligence, what we can do is, if we know that they're doing that for sure, that they want to sabotage our effort into bringing peace, we can put a lot of sanction onto them. If they're fully
Really?
dependent on us and we sanction them, I think we can take over. They understand
Yeah,
that. They would not
yeah.
try to
I
attempt
think
that.
that's a fair point. So you agree that instead of displacing a whole race of people, a two-state solution where Palestine is left to determine the destiny of its people, and Israel is also left to determine the destiny of Israelis, while both of them necessarily don't have to live in peace, they don't have to love each other, but can tolerate each other and be like, do your thing, I do my thing, mind your business, I mind my business.
I agree to some certain extent with how you explained, but I think if America was in charge of Gaza, the same way Israel is in charge of them right now, I think it will be so much better because we are the country of freedom. We give a lot of freedom even to people that come in here illegally. They're able to walk around. Have you been to China? If you're a student in China and you're living there illegally, you cannot do anything. They send you back home the same day you become illegal because they have a certain location where they make sure that you
You,
stay while you're still in
but
the country.
we,
So we are
I
very
mean,
tolerant. I think we can be the peace negotiator in Middle East.
I
We
am.
America has over almost 40 years now and start themselves as the peace negotiator. And the solution every president aside Trump has come up with is the two state. And
Yeah,
every time that two state is about to be implemented, Israel always finds a way to
they
frustrate
just
that thing.
they
And I think, for that being said, I think that's why God, with His mighty, with his beneficence, decided to keep our baby, our Messiah of this era, Trump, alive to bring peace back to the world and restore the world order. So, with that being said, I think Trump is going to be the person to fix it. They tried to kill him,
So
they tried to jail him. Nothing they've tried worked.
so
And
you
this is
think
because God is trying to bring peace to the Middle East and the whole world
See,
entirely.
you
so you
see,
think
the
by
MAGA
sending
fans won
people
the
out of their
election.
land and displacing them is a form of bringing peace to them? Wow.
Let's
Wait,
not turn this into emotional topic
No,
by trying
it's
to
not emotional.
manipulate and
I just
frame
wanted to
things that way.
confirm your
Do
position.
but
not frame things that way. I
but
think people should.
I thought our ideology as MAGA or Magasians was
America first.
America first. Let's stay away from those wars. Doesn't concern us. So why
Yes, I
all of a
mean, if you
sudden?
look at this, imagine if
America
next.
first was to win election. Gaza,
Oh,
Gaza,
real
Gaza,
estate,
Gaza Lago or whatever is now the
Gazalando,
Trump. Trump
Be-
through his son-in-law Jared
beautiful,
Kushner.
beautiful.
They are just trying
Man,
to
yo,
secure.
Trump. So, man, do you hear when Trump was stuck? It was like, man, like that
You
place, the
would
water
think he
is
would hate every
beautiful.
other country. Would it will shut
Yeah,
up? But
he
I mean,
was.
in the long run, we will see what happens. But I
Yeah,
don't
man.
think Trump is the best person that can bring peace to
So
the Middle East, in my opinion.
yeah, like T said, right? I think Trump was just throwing ideas out there to see how people react. But what Trump really wants to do is just to like just control that Gaza and build beautiful hotels and beautiful skyscrapers and resorts and kick the Palestinians out.
Then,
Probably pay those countries to
then,
take them.
then when he builds those things, he goes bankrupt. Then he will sell the name to other people to continue it.
No, I mean, the beauty about being a president is that you can create policies that will not let you get bankrupt. So it will be fine. Just needs to
Well,
have
another perspective.
All
his
right.
other
And with that being
investors.
So
said, I think we should bring the show to an end.
yeah,
It's been a beautiful
that
conversation. T, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think let's wait and see. All of this is just speculations and opinion. So we just have to keep on praying, hope for the best, and hopefully the underlying issue will be resolved, right? Just to bring peace in the world. It's not just one way, one person enjoy and the person suffers, right? But I think there should be more conversation that needs to be done, and hopefully they'll come to a middle ground because the way people are just dying, I mean, there are kids right there, there are people that they have families. I mean, because we are here enjoying does not mean that we can just sympathize with them. Everybody's looking for a better life, right? I mean, there are some bad people too, but I really feel like there should be more conversation that needs to be done, and hopefully the final decision will favors everybody.
Thank you, T. Haisha, what do you have to say? Final thoughts.
Um, I think well, life is always nuanced. It's not always black and white. In both sides, they are both good and bad people. But I think we all should, we can all agree that kids dying, old women dying, poor people dying for rich people's needs and money is really wrong. And we all should just check in our heart and do the right thing, both from the Israeli side and the Palestinian side. And hopefully we find peace somehow, somewhere. Yeah.
All right. So I think Palestinians deserve to be able to self determine. I think the children deserve to live long enough to also be able to determine what they would like to do. I think the children and all the suffering that's happening in Gaza, I think people don't deserve it. While I think all of those things I mentioned, I also think we need to propose ideas that can potentially bring peace to Middle East. They've been going through all this suffering for years, close to 100 years now, and we cannot just continue to watch this to go on. We can watch them to not have any type of freedom in their own land. Now
Mhm.
everything has been blown into they've been obliterated, right? We cannot continue to watch them just suffer and suffer. We know if they try to start from the scratch, they will not get anywhere in the next 100 years. It's going to be very challenging, especially when this quote unquote enemy won't stop sabotaging them, right? With that being said, I
Mhm.
think Trump's proposal right now it doesn't sound the best, but we can do something with it. Oracle, what do you have to say?
First, I would say thank you guys for the great insight and input. My opinion has always been the same. I wish both countries would or both nations would come together and agree on a two-state solution where Israel is doing their thing and Palestine are doing their own thing too, and everybody's living in peace. It's sad to see children, a lot of times we see videos of children online dying, dying to just eat food or get medical attention. Those are some of the saddest things I've had to see. And as a father, it's very sad to see things like that. I've seen fathers who are helpless; they couldn't even help their own kid. It's heartbreaking. I can relate to that. So I want a Middle East where everybody's doing their thing, regardless of their ideologies, their religious difference and preferences, and hopefully America as the big brother that they always try to be would be able to someday soon, find a solution that is helpful to both people and not just in preference or in favor of one against the other. That being said, it's a long work. It's not easy, but I think maybe if peace is not achievable, at least ability to tolerate each other should be reached. So that's my opinion.
Thank you, guys. Thank you again for coming back to the channel. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. Peace.
All right. Bye, everyone.